Have you ever worked somewhere and thought, does anybody even care anymore? Before we jump into today's devotional, we'd love you to be a part of our growing community. If you find this message uplifting, please subscribe, like, and comment. Believe it or not, most people who watch our videos aren't subscribed yet. Joining our community helps spread God's word around the globe, touching hearts and lives everywhere. And the best part about it, it's completely free. All right, let's get into it. Maybe you've seen coworkers cutting corners, coming in late, spending more time scrolling on their phones than actually working. That's frustrating, right? But here's the truth. Faithfulness still matters, not just to your boss, but to God. And believe it or not, faithfulness at work could change everything. Not just for your job, but for your whole life. Today, I want to dive into what it means to be a faithful employee and why it matters more than you think. The first thing is faithfulness means showing up and following through. In 1 Corinthians 4:2, we find these words. Now it is required that those who have been given a trust must prove faithful. When you think about it, showing up is half the battle in life. But showing up faithfully, day after day, even when you're tired, you're overlooked, or unappreciated, that's what separates the average person from excellence. I remember working my first real job at a hardware store. There was this older man named Mr. Frank. He wasn't flashy. He didn't joke around very much, but every single morning before the doors even opened, he was already there, stocking shelves, checking the inventory, sweeping the floors, and nobody had to tell him what to do. He just showed up, rain or shine, good days or bad days. And you know what? Over time, people trusted him with everything. Customers waited just to talk to him. New employees learned from him. He never asked for a promotion, but he earned more influence than anyone else in the building. Faithfulness builds influence, quietly and steadily. When people think about you at work, do they think of someone that they can depend on? You have to ask yourself that. The next thing, faithfulness means working with integrity. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. And that's Colossians 3:23, a very familiar verse for you. Your real boss is God, not your supervisor, not the owner of the business, not the person who signs your paycheck. When you understand that, it changes how you approach everything. I knew a young woman, and her name was Sarah. She worked in an accounting firm, and everyone else in her office took shortcuts. They fudged numbers to make themselves look better. They bent the rules because they thought nobody would notice. But Sarah, she didn't. She triple-checked her work. When she made mistakes, she owned up to them. At first, people laughed at her for being too honest. But when a major audit happened and it turned out half the office had been cooking the books, guess whose job was safe? Guess who got promoted? Sarah's integrity spoke louder than her title. Integrity is doing the right thing when it's hard, not just when it's easy. Would your work look any different if you imagine Jesus himself reviewing it? The third thing, faithfulness means lifting others along the way. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 tells us this. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. Faithfulness isn't just about what you produce. It's about what you plant in others. When you're faithful, you create a ripple effect. You lift others just by the way you carry yourself. One of the best teams I ever worked on had a woman named Kathy. She wasn't the loudest. She wasn't even the official team leader. But when someone struggled, Kathy noticed it. She picked up on it. She sent quick texts like, "You're doing great. Don't quit now." She'd leave little sticky notes of encouragement on computers. This sounds small, but it changed everything. People stayed longer. They worked harder and cared more because someone believed in them. Kathy was a builder, not a bulldozer. You see, faithfulness multiplies when you encourage others to stay strong too. When people leave a conversation with you, do they feel lighter or do they feel heavier? In closing, being faithful at work isn't glamorous. It won't always win you applause, but it honors God. And when you stay faithful, When you keep showing up, keep working with integrity, and keep lifting others up, you open the door for God to move powerfully in your life. So here's your challenge this week. Be the most faithful person in the room. To do that, I need you to show up, step up, and lift up. Be the one who shows up ready to work with a great attitude. Be the one who steps up and goes that extra mile. Be the one who lifts others up when they're ready to quit. Decide right now that you're going to set the temperature, not just measure it. You're going to carry an attitude of faithfulness that changes the atmosphere that's around you. When others complain, you choose gratitude. When others give up, you press on. When others cut corners, you hold the line. Encourage someone else along the way also. Work as if Jesus himself is your boss, because when it comes down to it, he is. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. And one more thing, if you really like this video, I know that you're going to enjoy this one right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back next Monday morning on Monday Mornings with Michael.